Hey everyone, welcome to Ajay and Nathan Discuss Movies, a show in which we discuss movies both old and new. We recently decided to watch a slasher movie that was in theaters. Now you may be wondering, is this an entirely new slasher movie? Yes.
Yes.
But does it borrow existing tropes from other slasher movies that make it a little bit boring and unimaginative?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that it borrowing from other movies makes it boring. I think it being boring
By the way,
makes it
welcome
boring.
to Lightning Fast VCR Repair.
Yeah.
I'm Mike.
I'm Jay.
And we're here to discuss the movie
Maxxxine.
Directed by Ty West.
Ty West, yeah.
Not T.I. West, which is what I called him the last episode.
Up now, if you just joined us, we're talking about T.I. Now, T.I. says during the interview, he said he goes to the gynecologist with his 18-year-old daughter every year to make sure she's still a virgin.
He said he'd been going with her since she was 16.
Since she was 16.
She's 18 now. I don't think that she needs him to go with him anymore. She's not a minor.
Well, let's play the audio.
My apologies on that, but it's by Ty West. Now, explain what the movie's about before we get into our thoughts.
Yes,
because we did get into our thoughts.
We jumped the gun a bit too early, but that's fine. We just got a lot to say. Maxxxine is the third film in Ty West's X trilogy. It stars Mia Goth as Maxxxine. After the events of X, she has moved to Los Angeles, to Hollywood, to pursue her dreams of being a film star, but those dreams are threatened when she enters the sights of a masked killer, and her past starts to follow her into this new goal she set, and now she must fight all these different things happening. Yeah, that's the movie. I wasn't prepared to give my description, but that's basically the broad strokes.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy description.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very pumped about discussing this film.
Yeah.
So what are your overall thoughts on Maxxxine?
I really wanted to love it. I really did. But I was more or less lukewarm on the movie as a whole. I love the other two films in the X trilogy, X, Pearl. I think they're both really good. I think Pearl is absolutely fantastic. I think X is a lot of fun, but Maxxxine, I feel it starts off very well and very promising, and then at some point it just drops the ball.
Yeah. They played it safe.
Yeah, which is so weird.
I see a lot of similarities between this movie and Glass by Shyamalan.
Jay, I loved this film until I didn't.
And God, I was
Not
also
to bring it into
I was
the
also
Shyamalan-verse.
thinking about Shyamalan as I watched this, like the idea, like I really loved it right up until I didn't.
Yeah.
I loved this film until I didn't.
I don't. Why do we always end up back at Shyamalan?
Get on the
Damn
pod,
it.
James Franco.
Get on the pod, James Franco.
The plaintiff's attorneys said this is their assessment of what happened. He was looking to create a pipeline, James Franco was looking to create a pipeline of young women who would be subjected to his personal and professional sexual exploitation in the name of education. That's obviously very different than what you just told me. But why would someone have at least that perception, and why would they accuse you of that?
Just gotta go through all our bits. But no. Maxxxine, I was very underwhelmed by this movie, and I was very disappointed, which is a shame because I think it has some good stuff in it.
Yeah.
I think Ty West is a very good director. I think the movie looks gorgeous in a technical sense, but I feel like I was really loving the first hour. The first hour was giving me everything the movie promised. It was perverse, it was bloody, it was violent, it had all that.
We had Halsey.
80s cheese. We had Halsey,
Which
God
explains
damn
why
it.
there were so many hot women in the theater. Usually when there's
everyone wanted
hot
to see
women
Halsey
at a theater, it's like, oh, there's a celebrity. Like I remember watching Dunkirk back in like 2018. There were so many hot women that were seated to watch Dunkirk. I'm like, are hot women into like Christopher Nolan and his like directing
Harry
prowess?
Styles.
And it's like, no, Harry Styles. So
yeah. But yeah, the movie starts off, I think, very strong, but at some point it sets up so much cool stuff in the first act, but then never does anything with it, which is so baffling and strange.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a good movie for what it was.
Yeah, it was okay.
But I felt like it was the same beats and patterns that we've seen before. They didn't really add anything new or subversive. I felt as if the tone of the movie was a tone that was similar to movies that I've seen before, but not done so in an original way. You know, because obviously, you know, the whole angle of how Christianity preaches about, you know, empowerment or about, you know, positivity and all of that, and then you see the big reveal, which I don't know if we should include a spoiler just yet.
Not just yet.
Not just yet.
But like, yeah, no, the movie has the angle of like the 80s, like satanic panic. You see people like protesting like the horror movies outside the movie studio. And it does come back later into the film, but in a very kind of boring, almost, I wouldn't say contrived, but it's just slapped in there.
When the reveal is shown, that's when I was completely taken out of the movie.
When the reveal happened, I was like, it didn't change anything about the movie. It wasn't like a big like, oh my god. It's like, no, that makes sense. Yeah, that might as well happen.
It felt like Scream, but not done so in an original way or in a fun, exciting way. It felt like it was just Scream, but hey, we got to end it somehow that makes sense and logically makes sense.
Well, I was also thinking of Scream, but in the sense that like the missed opportunities of the movie to like really amp up the energy, because it's like she's being stalked by a serial killer and she's filming this movie, and so I thought like, oh, Scream 3 is Ghostface coming onto a movie set and killing people. I thought it would be more like that, but the movie, Maxxxine, it doesn't do much with the premise of she's trying to be an actress and she's being hunted by the serial killer. It's like those two things are almost entirely separate events that stay very far away from one another. And just, it leaves the movie like with not much to do.
Yeah, I felt like there was a lack of finality to it.
I mean, the finality, like as an ending to a trilogy, I think it's okay. It wraps everything up, but it doesn't feel like as big as it should be.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier, like it plays it very safe, which is so weird considering how like out there and how wild like Pearl and X got like as the movies went along. There was like a good progression of like wild stuff happening, and then there's always like a big like wow moment for the audience to latch onto. In this movie, in Maxxxine, it doesn't have that. There's no big moment that like twists the entire thing around, and it's like it's just wild stuff from that point on. It just kind of just like fizzles out very fast.
You watch both X and Pearl, right?
Yes, I love both X and Pearl. I think they're fantastic. I think you weren't.
I've only seen X. I haven't seen Pearl.
You've seen X, but you weren't crazy about it.
I wasn't that crazy about it. Again, like I've seen a bunch of here's a cabin in the woods.
Yeah.
You know, and then these four or five people, you know, go at it with one another.
Yeah.
And then you see the old woman that is used as like a jump scare, as like a
which
is a very common horror trope. You've seen it in Barbarian with 2022. It's a pretty existing horror trope.
Yeah.
So I didn't view it as like, oh my god, this is like a cinematic like masterpiece.
Okay. Yeah.
But I did like the acting. I thought Mia Goth was really good in it.
Yeah, no, she's been the hero of this franchise, like with her performances. She's been absolutely fantastic consistently. She's great in X. She's phenomenal in Pearl. But when we get to Maxxxine, I feel like she doesn't have a lot to work with.
Yeah. And that's not an indictment on her.
No,
it's more on the script and the execution of the people that were in charge of making the film.
Yeah, no, it's... I want to go back to the first hour of this movie, just what I was feeling, and just like I'm gonna get to. This is gonna be a bit spoilery.
Yeah, it'll be in
I think from this point on.
Yeah, spoilers. Skip to this time.
Yeah, but the first hour was giving me everything I wanted. It was stylish. It did like the like quick like news montage of like here's the 80s, Ronald Reagan, Satanism, Coca-Cola. It's like it's giving me everything I want. I love the look of it. I love the cinematography. It's gorgeous. The movie has this nice like 80s like video like grain to it.
There's a scene in which a scrotum was destroyed.
A scroll, yeah, no, that was kind of the peak of the movie. Mia Goth crushes a man's testicles.
Do you think it was as bad as the kick that hit the assistant during the filming of this movie?
Oh, wasn't that a controversy?
Yeah, that was a controversy.
Something like that. I don't know.
How do you feel about that?
I don't know. I didn't read anything. I just saw it pop up on my Reddit feed. I'm like, I don't care. Whatever. So long as the movie's good. But now the movie is just kind of mid, and so I'm disappointed. But yeah, the movie, she steps on a man's balls, and I'm like, oh, I'm locked in. I'm ready for everything this movie has to give me. And then nothing really reaches that point of absurdity or that point of like fun, gratuitous violence. There's only like one major like slasher killing in the movie, and that's like her friend that works at a video store, and then there's really nothing else that happens after it. It's just kind of her running from Kevin Bacon, who is hilarious in the movie.
He's great.
He's so funny. He reminds me of Daniel Craig in Knives Out.
You have not been good to her. You have all treated her like shit to steal back a fortune that you lost and she deserves. You're a pack of vultures at the feast. Knives out, beaks bloody. Well, you're not getting bailed out. Not this time. Miss Cabrera has decided, definitively, not to renounce the inheritance.
What?
Like with his over-the-top private detective, like, oh, I say, foghorn, leghorn kind of accent. He's got like gross gold teeth. He's so much fun, but it's like he's mostly the villain of the movie. And like the slasher pops up like wants to do a killing and then pops up at the end to do a I am your father twist, which isn't really a twist. You see it coming a mile away.
Yeah, as soon as you see her, and again, spoilers, but as soon as you see her enter into that mansion with the video being played,
of her
like,
as a kid.
It's her dad.
It's like, yeah, it's her dad, and the movie wants it to be bigger than it is, but it's not.
And like the final shootout scene or the final duel scene
was very lame.
Yeah, lame, and I felt like. And I asked myself so many questions when that happened. It's like, how is this guy able to like own an entire mansion where debaucherous stuff happens without any sort of like
cult killings?
Yeah, without any sort of like pushback from the police or from the cops. Like, how is that able to happen?
That I can hand wave away, but like it's such a boring shootout.
That's a cinema sin right there.
It's a ding. Ding, that's real criticism right there, folks. But like even the end of the movie is so weird because before she has like her dad there and she's about to shoot him, and before she does, she has like a fantasy moment where she like she's like, oh, finally famous now because she killed her father, and
she's
like,
starred in the Puritan 2.
Yeah, the Puritan 2. She's like, oh, she's famous now, and she has this whole big story, and everyone knows Maxxine Minx's name. And then we cut back, shoots her dad, and then that all kind of happens because then it jumps forward and she's just like, she's working on her movie again. She's gonna be a star. It's like having your cake and eating it too. It's just so weird.
I felt like the metaphors were just so heavily tacked on. The Puritan 2, like, what are we doing?
The Puritan 2, it's supposed to be like The Witch for A24.
The person at the video store was reading Fangoria magazine.
Oh, yeah.
Why?
I mean,
this is meta. This is turning into scary movie. We're entering into scary movie territory with that kind of thing.
You see,
I liked it, but I felt like it was misplaced in the movie.
Early on, I kind of felt like the movie was being very like tongue-in-cheek, like kind of parody on purpose, but I wish it had carried that throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
Cause like, I don't know, I just remember when the video store guy is getting murdered, it does like this weird close up on his face, and it's just like blood gushing. It's just like, that's such like a cheesy like 80s like slasher shot. And I'm just like, I wanted more of that kind of energy from the movie, and just it doesn't keep it up past that first hour.
Yeah. I mean, I like the performances in the movie. Obviously, we talked about Mia Goth, but Halsey, I thought she did really well.
Yeah, no.
In this movie.
With
Bobby Cannavale, I liked a lot.
Bobby Cannavale, he's a fun actor. I like seeing him.
It's hilarious.
It's like, you know, I also wanted to be an actor, and then dies.
Whenever I think about Bobby Cannavale, I always think about him in Bupkis, the Pete Davidson show.
Bupkis? Oh, wait, what?
He was on the Pete Davidson show.
Pete Davidson had a show
called Bupkis. It's actually not that bad. There's a lot of great actors in it. Joe Pesci was in it.
What?
Yeah.
What?
I'm being honest.
What? I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I look at Joe Pesci. He looks like a shrunk in the wash version of Pete Davidson.
Really?
Yeah, he's just like. But please put up like 2 side-by-side pictures of Joe Pesci and Pete Davidson.
Yeah, we'll cut in. But yeah, overall, I thought the performances were great. Halsey's New Jersey trash accent.
Yeah, it's very funny.
So said every fat girl in Hollywood.
She's great.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I don't hate the movie.
No,
but I did feel underwhelmed while watching it.
There's nothing to hate. There's nothing like truly like wrong with it. It just becomes kind of pedestrian. I'd say is its greatest faults.
Yeah, I do feel that.
Yeah, and especially like in comparison to the other 2 movies before. I know you didn't love X, but I think at least X, like, it has its concept of like, we've got porn stars getting murdered, and it gives you everything you want from that. You got the porn stars doing the porn, gratuitous nudity, and then murderers come by and kill them in ridiculous ways, and then there's the other layer of like, spoiler alert for X, creepy old people killing these porn stars, and the creepy old people are like screwing on a bed. It gives you what you want from that premise. Maxxxine doesn't have that energy to it.
Yeah, I felt like this movie was very similar to. Have you watched Paul Schrader's Hardcore?
Hardcore
by Paul Schrader?
No, I haven't.
It's the same themes and concepts of like, you know, of people within the adult film industry, and you know, it gives a horror route to it as well. Definitely suggest you for anyone who's new to Paul Schrader, I'm sure you aren't, but if you're watching this, you probably aren't new to Paul Schrader, but definitely watch Hardcore by Paul Schrader, because there's a lot of similarities between this movie and Maxxxine, most definitely. So I just saw similarities between this one and Paul Schrader's Hardcore, which Paul Schrader actually did give a post on Ty West, saying he needs to get out of the slasher film genre and get into something more serious. Which I kind of agree with. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like Ty West is a very talented director. I think it's best for him to just step out of this world for some time and then come back to it.
See, I don't have a problem with Ty West directing slashers, but it's like, if you're gonna do it, direct a fucking slasher, because Maxxxine really isn't. It doesn't fully
felt like a drama.
But and like not even like a really good one. It has a lot of setups that don't have any payoff to them. Like early on in the movie, it's like touching upon like exploitation and like porn and like the film business, because early on she does her audition, the producers are kind of like judging her for being like a adult film star, and then at the end of the audition they're like, all right, show us your breasts. And it's like, are we gonna do something with that? And we don't do anything with that.
It felt like it tried to be a critique of a lot of things, but didn't understand how to convey the message.
It had them all set up, but then didn't do anything with it for the rest of the movie. Elizabeth Debicki is in the movie as the director of the Puritan 2. Oh, she's phenomenal.
It's a very similar performance to like Tar by. But I couldn't help but get the image of Tar. And, you know.
But like she has this line in the movie. She's like, "I'm making a B movie with A ideas," and I feel like that's what this movie wanted to be.
Yeah.
But it's like it doesn't really do much with its ideas, and it's not even like a solid B movie.
No.
At that.
No. And plus, B movies should not have the kind of budget that this movie has. Well.
No. What was the budget for this movie?
I think 15 mil.
15 mil?
Maybe. I don't know. I couldn't help but...
That's still pretty mid.
Still mid. All right. I mean, I couldn't help but notice that, like, I just can't wrap my head around, like, are we still doing, like, the Christianity is bad angle? Like, in these horror movies, like, we've already seen this trope so many times before. Like why is that still a thing? Like,
I think it's just funny to
no one in America
the
is
Bible
that
thumpers.
Yeah.
Well, there's like the people who are like religious, and then there's like the psychos.
Yeah, true. But like no one in America today is that religious compared to back in the 70s and 80s. I get it's a period piece, but like again, like I feel like every straight white guy in this role was viewed as like the devil for some reason. Every straight the Bobby Cannavale character was viewed as a bad person.
What? I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think he was just viewed as like kind of bumbling.
When he was interrogating Maxxxine, I could definitely tell that okay, they're trying to go for that angle here.
Not really. I think it was just him just being like, it ended with like a joke, and he's just like, you didn't like that performance? Like he's still just trying to be an actor.
But I mean, all the straight white dudes here were like portrayed as like weird people. I'm not gonna lie. You didn't notice that?
As a half white, almost kind of straight white man, I can't say I noticed much of that.
Okay. I couldn't help but notice it. I'm not gonna lie. It felt weird.
I mean, you are both straighter and whiter than I.
Straighter and white. But overall, this is a movie that just comes and goes. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
This is a movie that I won't watch a second or third time.
I will rewatch X. I will 100% rewatch Pearl all the time. But Maxxxine, I might skip upon I may rewatch it again just to find like more stuff that I liked. Maybe I can suss it out. But as it stands, it is a lukewarm finale to the X trilogy.
Yeah, and it sucks because there's not much that we can really say about the movie besides our disappointment in it.
Yeah, I can't help but just keep comparing it to like X and Pearl, just because those movies do what this one's trying to do so much better. Like X is the better slasher, and Pearl is the better examination of like perversity and like kind of like the entertainment industry in a way as well. And Maxxxine again sets up a lot of that in the first act and then does nothing with it. I will say there were some funny moments in the movie. Like there were multiple times where she's like driving onto like the studio lot and she's like, I'm Maxxxine Minx, and they're like guys that like recognize her from the pornos. They're just like, you sure are. There's one guy who's like, oh yeah, you need to be on the set later today. Also, I'm a big fan of your work, and then he runs away.
Again, I feel like it could have done a lot better with it being tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, it needed to like carry that out a bit more.
I feel like it would have been awesome, and not to, do a callback or anything, but it would have been better if the big reveal was M. Night Shyamalan was the killer.
Oh my god.
It was just like a Shyamalan cameo at the end of Maxxxine.
Get out of our heads, M. Night. You had your time. We're trying to watch other things now, Night. Get away.
That would have been hilarious. If M. Night Shyamalan was the cameo and was the killer at the end of it. And then Ty West comes out of nowhere and is like, and he just, talks to M. Night Shyamalan in the movie. It says that you're in a simulation. This was
What?
This was all a nightmare.
I have no idea where you're going with this, but honestly, I think it would have been a better third act if Ty West got into a fight with Shyamalan.
Yeah. That would have been great, dude.
That would have been great, but the third act we got was just kind of a lame shootout.
Yeah. This will be forgotten in a few days or years.
Yeah.
As soon as we're done reviewing this or discussing this film, it's going to be out of my out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, I'll still remember X and Pearl fondly, but Maxxxine will be there. Again, I feel like we're being very harsh on the movie because it's not bad.
It's not a bad movie.
It's
Again,
just,
the performances are great.
Yeah.
The dialogue was great. It didn't feel like it was corny or cringy at all. But some funny jokes in it. Yeah, I mean, overall, it just felt flat to me. It
fell flat.
It felt as if we were going to get a bigger reveal,
Yeah,
a subversion of our expectations, and we just didn't get that.
I thought Elizabeth Debicki was going to be the killer.
I thought so too.
Or maybe I just got really excited when I saw Elizabeth Debicki like with fake blood on her hands. I don't know why. That kind of did something to me.
Really?
Elizabeth Debicki rubbing Lily Collins' face with fake blood. I was like, I don't know why, but then nothing came of it. She was just she just hung out on that studio lot the entire movie and really didn't do much.
Yeah. Overall, I don't really have anything else to.
We're left depressed.
We're left depressed, angered,
Upset, bamboozled,
swindled,
Shanghaied.
Yeah. You watched it at AMC or?
Yeah, me and a friend of mine, we watched it at AMC, and we both kind of like. We both had the same reaction. Like, we were both like, oh, yeah, we're so locked in. This is great. And then by the end, we're just like, dang it.
It doesn't help that the only trailers that were shown before this movie were horror trailers.
Yeah, no, you were saying that earlier. Like, the impact of, like, a horror movie is diminished when you've got nothing but horror movie trailers.
When you have, like, the best jump scares from these movies in these trailers before a horror movie's played, it ruins the entire flow of the movie, in my opinion. It's kind of like when you watch like a comedian who does one-liners or impressions follow a comedian who also does one-liners or impressions. Where it's like, we already have so much of this. Like, you got to break it up some way, somehow.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I never like to follow you, because you have so many impressions.
Yeah.
It's like, damn it, he took all my bits.
Yeah. I do a great Mark Wahlberg impression.
Do your Mark Wahlberg.
I can't. We're riffing, and then you said that line, and I'm like, I can't.
God damn it.
I'm not impressed.
Got you.
But what was I going with this? I felt like the trailers would have been so much better if they didn't have any horror elements in if there were no horror movie trailers before this movie.
Yeah, but like, here's the thing: when the movie starts, it's barely even a horror movie.
Yeah,
it's barely even a horror movie. It for some reason it becomes like a procedural noir, and not even like in a fun way.
Yeah,
it's just her kind of going from like place to place. The cops will show up. Bobby Cannavale will be kind of a dick, and then he'll be like, "Hey, I'm an actor. He's just good cop, bad cop."
Michelle Monaghan's there.
Oh yeah, no, Michelle
beautiful.
Monaghan's the partner. She's really good, but like, again, they don't get to do much outside of like that, and then they die. That's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you think they'll add more to this universe?
Probably not. This is the end to a trilogy. It's pretty much done. I think I still want to see Mia Goth and more things because she's fantastic. I'd still love to see Ty West like keep directing because he is still fantastic. Like, just the look of this movie is gorgeous.
That music video he shot for Justin Timberlake's No Angels is so great. I would say that's the best.
Have not watched
that's the best work of art he's done so far. Is that Justin Timberlake music video? So yeah, overall, those are our thoughts.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think in the comments below, or don't. It's fine either way.
It's fine.
We're not going to get mad.
This is more of a sad review.
Yeah, this is more of
than
like,
our last one.
This is more like watching like a death. Like this is more like watching a death, like watching a funeral on screen.
It's clear that all these weeks of Shyamalan have just kind of ruined other movies for us. We've already peaked.
In terms of B movies, I would much rather rewatch The Happening than this.
I'd rather watch The Happening any time of day. I'd name one of the best movies of all time. Just name any of them, and I'd rather watch The Happening. Name one.
I don't know, like 8.5 by Fellini.
I'd rather watch The Happening.
The Happening, same here.
The Happening. I'd rather watch The Happening.
All right. There's nothing else to add, so.
Nothing really else to add. Nah.
Might as well end it here.
We might as well end it.
Support us through Venmo. Here are our usernames. Tap in a few dollars.
Join our Patreon.
Join our Patreon, our non-existent Patreon.
Yeah.
We'll just leave a link for Red Letter Media's Patreon.
Yeah, sure. Go support that.
Yeah. All right. Bye.